Maybe sometimes you just want a business transaction. Sometimes that is the case. And this is what really happens, in my personal opinion, when you join those conferences. You're finding people in different industries, so you might want to share the research that you've done with other people that could help each other at the end of the day. Sometimes you just want a transaction, and that's completely fine, but don't try to be upfront about it. So we all know that networking is important. However, one of the mistakes that I want you to avoid when it comes to networking and expanding your relationships as an entry-level engineer and engineering student in general is to force relationships. Networking does not mean forcing relationships and just trying to connect with people who, number one, maybe don't even want to connect with you, and number two, maybe you are just coming too pushy. And the key, in my personal opinion, is to keep it natural and organic. And I actually found a short article here from a college student that I think can resonate with a lot of people out there. This person says, I'm a college student, so I'm very early in my professional career, but so far I've already had trouble overcoming my aversion, distaste, ineptitude for networking. I've only done one summer internship, but I'm always hearing that the only real way to get jobs and find success professionally is through quote-unquote networking. A challenge for me, someone who often does poorly in overly performative social situations. I have a hard time reaching out to professors for this kind of thing as well. And he continues, not only, or she, I don't know who it is, not only do I find myself feeling as though I'm not taking proper advantage of networking opportunities, I have a real distaste for the concept. Wow. The idea that I need to make and maintain social connections with people I don't actually like in the hope of using them for professional gain at some point in the future feels overly invasive and frustrating. See, this is exactly what I was talking about, guys. Like, you don't have to force relationships. If you don't like someone, you don't have to connect with them. It's the same thing. If people don't like you, they're not going to try to connect with you either. So, I mean, it's not about you forcing and just manipulating people. That's not how it works. Let's see. I want to make friends at work, but I don't want to be constantly trying to charm the most advantageous social connection in my vicinity. I know I'm being stubborn about this, but I can't shake the feeling that I'm doing something slimy or that I'm just not coming off well to the people I think I should be trying to schmooze, whatever that means. I don't even know what the schmooze means. The student asks here, how do I successfully network without feeling like I'm doing something snake-like? And what I would say to that is just be genuine. That's really what it comes down to. And then the manager says here, networking, a lot of people feel like you do, that it's somehow phony or manipulative and smarmy. And don't get me wrong, some people are like that. You know, so some people are like that. Some people are manipulators. These are, what would you call the psychopaths, right? Like just trying to, they have no emotions, they have no connections with you, they don't really care, they just tell you what you want to hear, so that then they can use your influence and use you and then just basically forget about you. So the manager says here, some of this might be because you've seen bad networkers who are truly smarmy. People oozing self-importance who invade your space with business cards in hand, deliver an unsolicited pitch about their work, and use your name weirdly often in a transparent attempt to establish rapport. Or people who make it clear that they're only being friendly to you because they want an introduction to your boss. This is a strategy that is widely used when it comes to celebrities. I've heard many times that people just approach the videographer, or maybe they approach the manager or a friend of somebody that is famous, and that's just because they're not trying to really get to know the person himself or herself, but they're trying to get to the celebrity, you know? So yeah, there are people like that. It says, but if you're doing it well, networking shouldn't be about being pushy or sucking up to the people or calculating how could they help you in the future. It should be just about broadening the circle of people who you're generally interested in knowing. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not generally interested in getting to know random strangers, that's the wrong way to look at it. Instead, look at it this way. My work brings me into contact with people who probably have similar interests to my own, and in many cases, it will be interesting to get to know them better. Says, it might sound cheesy, but truly, networking is just about making genuine connections with people. So you don't need to do it with people you're not generally interested in getting to know. But you'll find it more fulfilling and ultimately useful if you're open-minded about people and commonalities you might share. So another thing is, like, as I was mentioning a little earlier, you start with things in common, and maybe it's the work that you do, or maybe the same conference where you're at. And then eventually, over time, you get to know the people at a more personal level. And that's the networking that really works, in my personal opinion. So let's say once you created a circle of people who you're connected with professionally or otherwise, then yes, that opens up possibilities for you both to be helpful and seek help. But the whole thing will be far more palatable, and you'll be better at it if you don't go in with just using people as your primary focus. You might feel as someone early in your career that you don't have anything to offer people who are more established than you, and you might wonder what they would get out of connecting with you at all. Don't discount the value you can bring to a potential relationship by showing genuine interest in someone else and respect for their expertise. Lots of people get satisfaction out of being able to answer questions like, can you tell me more about your experience as a woman in this field? Of course, that those questions are very different from, can you help me find a job? The relationship might eventually get strong enough to ask for that kind of help, but that's not where you start. It says, in other words, you don't have to be able to offer people job leads or new business to get them to talk to you. But good networkers do generally know that a relationship could end up benefiting them somewhere down the line in ways that aren't obvious right now. Who knows? They might be able to recommend you to someone in their network who's looking for your skill set, or get your help on a project down the road, or even turn to you for advice one day. Those sorts of things are in an immediate quid pro quo, but they're useful. And it's not an inherently itchy thing for relationships to be mutually beneficial. And that's the business world, guys. Like, a lot of the times, maybe sometimes you just want a business transaction. Sometimes that is the case. And this is what really happens, in my personal opinion, when you join those conferences. You're finding people in different industries. So you might want to share the research that you've done with other people that could help each other at the end of the day. Sometimes you just want a transaction. That's completely fine, but don't try to be upfront about it. Says, so how do you actually make all of this happen? The manager says, a lot of it is about putting yourself in places where it can happen and just being open to talking to people. A huge amount of networking and relationships building happens at conferences. So when you have the chance to go to even semi-relevant conferences, take it. Yeah, I agree. Take it. Go to conferences. Go to coffee with people that you hang out with. Says, if someone suggests coffee and you have time to go. Hang out in your field's online forums and blogs. Spend time in field relevant LinkedIn groups and post and respond to people there. Then once you meet people, stay in touch. Congratulate them on LinkedIn, announces and they have a new job, and TED Talk, blah, blah. And the manager concludes here, that said, you don't have to do any of this. I agree. You won't become unemployable just because you choose not to focus on networking. It's not as obligatory as part of your job searching as, for example, having a resume, but it can definitely expand your options and make your professional life more interesting and fulfilling. So with all that being said, guys, be mindful of taking care of relationships and rapport. And I hope this helps you understand networking a little better. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Take care. Peace.